battle tonight between the last two NFC teams to win this Super Bowl. Think about that. Tonight, the Seattle Seahawks, the Philadelphia Eagles fighting for playoff positioning, and we are getting ready for this big game over on ESPN, and we're going to be with you for the next 30 minutes on what is really turned into a busy Monday. We got schedule changes. We've got head coaches going off. We have so much to get to you. Welcome into the Monday Tailgate Party here. I'm Diana Rossini, alongside with my buddies in Bristol, Connecticut, Field Yates, Jason Fitz with us. Our friend Mina Kimes is actually going to join the show because, guys, if the Seattle Seahawks are going to be playing, we got to have Mina on, right? So we're going to press her on if she actually thinks that they can make a run in the playoffs, and, of course, talk to her about that appearance on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, which is, like, ridiculous. Like, she's really become a superstar here. So we're going to get to that in a minute. But, guys, we're going to do a new segment tonight. First of all, I didn't even say hi. What's up?
Hello, how are you doing?
Just rolled right over you. So we're going to do a new segment then. So, Fitz, I want you to start us off. We're going to call this the Blitz. I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock. All right, I want you to get into something that's just eating at you, something that you need to get off your chest tonight. So can you start us off? Get that clock going. 60 seconds, that's all you got, and I'll cut you off.
All right, here we go. Look, there's going to be a lot of hot takes going on right now about my beloved Raiders after a terrible loss to Atlanta, and it is a terrible loss, but anybody that tells you the Raiders aren't going to the playoffs has not looked at the schedule moving forward. This is a team that still controls its own destiny. Stop letting the hot take artists convince you otherwise. They still have a game against the Colts. They still have a game against the Dolphins, and if your answer is, well, they can't play like that and beat those teams, of course they can't. But let's be real, in 2020, almost every single team, every single week has laid an egg. That's what the Raiders did. The season will not be defined by their game against the Falcons. It will be defined by how they rebound against the Jets, and more importantly, what they do moving forward for a team that already has the tiebreaker advantage over the Browns and has the opportunity to get the tiebreaker advantage over other teams in the AFC playoff race. They are headed to the playoffs. I know it. Baby Yoda knows it because I'm wearing a Baby Yoda Raiders shirt. That's the way I go. Look at the playoff picture right there and tell me who's going to finish ahead of them. The answer is nobody in that wild card race. The Raiders are going to be just fine, and I'm going to be celebrating playoffs very soon. Field, that's my 60 seconds.
Okay, so my 60 seconds are now on the clock is what you're telling me, Fitz. And my goal is by the end of this 60 seconds to have a vein pop out of my neck just like my friend Fitz.
I bring heat. I bring heat.
He does tend to bring heat. I am not quite as fired up about something because I'm not a Raiders fan. I'm more inspired because I knew which direction Fitz and Diana were going to go. Mine is more of the feel-good story. So yesterday, if you missed it, Derrick Henry ran for nearly 200 yards and had 3 touchdowns against the Colts. And make no mistake about it, Derrick Henry is the best pure runner in the NFL right now. But it was aided by an outstanding effort from his offensive line. And specifically, David Quessenberry, who 3 years ago, as you're seeing right now, shook the cancer bell, rang the bell as he was departing from his recovery from cancer. Yesterday, he made his first career NFL start. This guy has battled through an incredible amount. He's been back and forth on and off the field because of his cancer diagnosis. He's back. He's been up and down from the practice squad to the active roster. He caught a touchdown pass at one point last year, but yesterday made his first career start and catalyzed an effort from Derrick Henry that will, of course, never be forgotten. But David Quessenberry, you earned this moment. A good reminder to all those out there, if you want something bad enough to continue to work hard and pour your entire heart and soul into it, and you have a chance to fulfill those dreams. That was a cool moment. That right there is my 60 seconds of time. And
that
Diana,
awesome.
Now it's on to you.
Yeah, I feel that was the first thing actually Derrick Henry said right after the game when I asked him about how he was able to run as much as he did. And he pointed to that offensive line that we know has been beat up. They're on their third left tackle, giving love. And I love that story. I also hate that you're highlighting the fact that Fitz and I are so drama because I'm going with my 60 seconds on the clock, which I could probably wrap in 10. What is going on in Tampa Bay between Tom Brady and Bruce Arians? We know that both of them have very strong personalities, but I want to go back to the summer when we heard Brian Leftwich, the offensive coordinator, talk about what is this offense going to look like once they were able to settle in and figure out they've got Tom Brady on their team. And when he said that this is going to be a Bruce Arians offense with flavor of Tom Brady, I just remember thinking, guys, how? Why? Why are you going to do anything that makes Tom Brady uncomfortable, no matter how good you are? And we know how great Tom Brady is. But he has been in the same system for 20 years, and I think he's been pretty successful. keep Tom Brady in a space and an offense doing what he wants to do. We all have all the respect in the world for what Bruce Arians can do. We know with the quarterbacks he's been successful with, but this is different. You're all in to win this season. Make it easy. Give the GOAT an offensive game plan that fits him. So, I did it in 60 seconds. I thought I could do it in 10, but I used my phone. Guys, are you with me on this or am I crazy?
Diana, you were on the Bucks are going to miss the playoffs pick before the season. So this is your corner. And they're probably going to make the playoffs based off of how the NFC playoff picture is shaping up and their 4 games on the back end of their bye. But, your radar was up on this marriage between Tom Brady and Bruce Arians. And they can say whatever they want to sort of try to calm some of the concerns, but it's clear there is not a perfect sort of harmony between the quarterback and the offensive staff right now.
Can we also acknowledge that we always talk about the Patriot way, right? And how difficult it is for players that come into the Patriot way. What about players like Tom Brady that leave the Patriot way?
Yeah.
They've left a certain culture. They've left a certain way of doing business. Now they go to someplace totally different. And in that process, there's different levels of accountability, different ways everything's run. I mean, I think there's a bigger adjustment getting out of the Patriot way for Tom Brady than a lot of people expected. And Diana, I think you're absolutely right. What you got next for us?
I love this. This is just like one big pat on my back. I got to take the wins because I'm wrong like 90% of the time. Tweet it or delete it. Speaking of being wrong sometimes, right, guys? We see those tweets out there. Sometimes you look at them and you go, let's retweet that. Sometimes you're like, man, delete that. So Field, for you, is there a tweet out there that maybe we came across that you're like, I would definitely retweet that, or they need to throw that thing in the trash?
Yeah, I mean, here's one that I would not be retweeting, which is that the NFL season is in jeopardy. I get it. Right now, people are a little bit fired up because this Pittsburgh Steelers-Baltimore Ravens game has been delayed from Thursday to Sunday, Sunday to Tuesday, and now Tuesday to Wednesday afternoon. But if you take that situation away, which I know is somewhat unfair, the NFL has been able to play every game so far this season within the week that it was intended to be played, or they've been able to accommodate those games through buys from like the early season games where they were reshuffling the Broncos, Patriots, and the Titans and the Bills amongst other games. And I understand that there are a lot of tentacles to this situation. And I'm not trying to say that the NFL has been above the coronavirus. I will just say that I think the NFL is going to find a way because the NFL is determined to find a way. There is a ton of money and TV windows and obligations to meet that the NFL not at the cost of the players' health and well-being, because they have been trying to, as best they can, accommodate as many sort of player concerns as they can. But the NFL is going to find a way to power through this season.
All right, Field, Fitz, you're up.
All right, so I saw a lot of people tweeting about the Browns and how the Browns are going to go to the playoffs. I'm going to delete that tweet all day, every day. The Cleveland Browns, while it's a great story the way the season has gone, will miss the playoffs this year. I'm confident of it. And look, I'll use some of the college football landscape mindset, right? You guys know I work a lot in college football, and one thing that you hear all the time is, who do you play? Who you play matters. Look at the remaining schedule for the Cleveland Browns this year. They have to play the Titans, the Ravens, who already thumped them once, no matter what Baltimore looks like. They got to play the Giants, who are tougher than their record looks like. And they have to play the Steelers. I still find 4 losses on the schedule remaining for Cleveland. The only time that I see that Vegas will definitively list them as the favorite the rest of the year is definitely the game over the Jets and maybe the game against the Giants. Any way you want to look at it, this is a team right now that has not played particularly well in beating the Jags. They didn't play as well as they needed to, even though they got the win over the Eagles. They didn't look great against the Texans. They have feasted on some bad teams, which is fine. But now they are going to have to play some good teams, and in the process, they will be exposed. And as great as it is to see them not have a losing season, that will not be enough to get Cleveland to the playoffs.
Wow, a lot of people are all in on Cleveland and what Stefanski's been able to do, that they're gonna finally break out of what's been pretty much misery for the last decade. So you're not all in, but a lot of people are all in on Derrick Henry, guys, being the MVP. Chris Mortensen was on Twitter today, which he's one of my favorite tweeters. He's a little bit of a troll, and I appreciate that from a man that has such credibility. A lot of talk about Derrick Henry being the league MVP, especially after yesterday's performance against the Colts. Only 3 times has somebody rushed for more than 100 yards against this Colts defense in the last 3 years. It's been Derrick Henry every single time. It's obvious that he is, without a doubt, the best running back in the league. We all were talking about perhaps it being Dalvin Cook last week. I wasn't buying that. But here's the thing, guys. I'm not going to retweet this. I'm not retweeting this, Derrick Henry. I don't think you're MVP because you know why? I think Ben Roethlisberger should be the league MVP. What he's been able to do coming off the surgery. He's got these young receivers that he's made all of them look like superstars. Yeah, they're undefeated. They've had to deal with so much this season with injuries, with obviously schedule changes. We're going to see them now on Wednesday, playing at 3:40 Eastern on NBC. So much they've had to battle against. And I think that Ben Roethlisberger, we take him for granted. You give me Big Ben, and you're going to have a successful team. And I think this is the year that we need to talk about him being the MVP.
Take for granted. Sounds like Diana's taking Patrick Mahomes for granted.
You ever heard of that guy Mahomes? He plays in Kansas City. He's pretty good.
Come on, Diana. We'll let it pass on this one occasion. But, we'll have that conversation maybe again in a future week. All right, here's my opportunity to come back for more. That Jameis Winston should be the Saints starting quarterback next week. Delete. I did this last week. I talked about how we owe Sean Payton an apology. We, meaning all those out there with the gumption, the gall, to call out Sean Payton and question whether or not Taysom Hill should be the starting quarterback. What did they do last week? They demolished the Falcons. What did they do yesterday? They demolished the Broncos. Now, I get it. Kendall Hinton was starting. But still, Taysom Hill, 2 more rushing touchdowns. I don't care if he barely threw the football. They didn't need to. They did not need to yesterday. I love watching Jameis Winston play football because, as we know, he can both keep you in a game and play you out of a game. As a matter of fact, he keeps both teams in the game every single week. But the Saints are 9-2. They've won 8 straight games. I got a few rules I follow in life. One of them is do not disobey the words of Sean Payton when it comes to quarterback play. I'm deleting this tweet so fast.
I like that. You know what? We'll stay on the quarterback train for my next one, as it's about Jalen Hurts. Obviously, tonight, a lot of people want to tweet out there that the Eagles should be starting Jalen Hurts. Delete it. Delete the tweet right now. Don't send it. Save yourself. All right, all the Eagles will do if they start Jalen Hurts is essentially damage both of the quarterbacks that they have on their roster. The only reason this is even a conversation is because they drafted a quarterback in the 2nd round that had such a great college resume. It was a head-scratching pick at the moment, but you've had no offseason. You've had limited opportunity to get him reps. You've had limited opportunity to get him work, and he would be doing all of this on an Eagles team that, guess what, is bad. Top to bottom, they're not a good football team this year. So you're going to take Carson Wentz out, which is going to destroy Carson Wentz's ability to go out and play. You're going to turn around and you're going to take Jalen Hurts in, and God knows what level of success he's at. If the Eagles do anything by putting Jalen Hurts in to start tonight, all it will be doing is damaging all of their quarterbacks. That's a bad move. Diana, what do you got next?
I'm actually in agreement with you on that one.
Nice.
Yeah, I am. It doesn't happen often on this show, but it does. So did you guys see earlier today? First of all, coaches were on fire. I don't know what everyone was drinking this morning with their coffee.
They're all working
but I'm
at
sure
home.
you saw. That's what it is. The next 2 days, everyone's working from home. No one's allowed in the facility, and I think everyone gets that cabin fever, right? So we heard Matt Nagy going off crazy. Mike Vrabel was like losing his mind. I'm like, didn't they win yesterday? I don't understand what he's so mad about. But did you guys hear interim head coach Darren Bevel from the Lions today talking about basically what a whirlwind of the last few days? He said, one of the reporters here, Dave Burkett, tweeted, "What a weekend for Darren Bevel." Not only did he get the interim head coach job with the Lions, but 2 of his daughter's boyfriends asked him for permission to marry his daughter. So I read that and thought, that's really sweet and personal. But maybe he should not have let that out because now his daughters know. They didn't ask yet. So Dave, or someone on this call, was a great reporter, and added that Bev said the boyfriends haven't asked the girlfriends yet. And one of the boyfriends asked in the emergency room after he took a softball off the eye. There's so much going on. That's just 3 tweets. So the game here is tweet it or delete it. I am retweeting all of this. This is better than any TV show. There's just a lot going on there. And I feel bad for these daughters. The surprise is ruined.
I was going to say, Diana, you just got married, right? Like, how would it have struck you if you found out on Twitter that the question was about to be popped?
That's right.
I was really surprised. So the surprise is part of it, right, guys? I mean, you guys have both proposed to your wives before, I think. I think you guys did the whole traditional get down on one knee, ask the father for permission thing. So yeah, the surprise is what made it so fantastic. So I feel bad for them. They're gonna have to come up with another game plan here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I feel bad for them. All right, so that's a little bit of tweet or delete. But in the meantime, I think we're going to peel behind the curtain here. Kenny, we're going back to Diana?
Right back.
All right, Diana,
yeah.
You've got more work to do.
Well, yeah, I don't want to talk about weddings anymore. I'm over that. Quarantine is going to drive me to a divorce. But guys, speaking of things that are going to last, right? We got pretenders. We have contenders coming up here in the season. So let's pick our top 5 contenders and pretenders. Take it away, boys.
Touchscreen time, as always, every week, electric content. So we're going to do this week contenders versus pretenders, Fitz, and not to make the playoffs. I'm talking to win the whole thing, win the Super Bowl, the Lombardi Trophy, and we're going to start at the top with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Don't let this Christmas get up fool you. I am ready to go full South Pole elf and take you on if I don't like where you're going with this. So we'll start with the Steelers, and they're squarely a contender, right? Like undefeated, I know it hasn't looked pretty. I still think the Chiefs are better, but they're a contender.
Yeah, that's a great job by you. Noted that the Chiefs are also the best team in football, and they are a contender. And by the way, Steelers fans, it's okay to be second to the Chiefs. The Chiefs are ridiculously, incredibly good at tackle football. Titans, let's keep buzzing through here because it becomes more compelling the further we get down the list.
So the Titans are an interesting case study for me because their defense at times is hot garbage. They play down to lower opponents. Their third down defense is not good, but their offense is enough for me to put them in the contender list to win the Super Bowl this year. The fact that they've been able to do this without Taylor Lewan on the offensive line, they've been able to do it in so much. We pay so much attention to Derrick Henry, but this is also an explosive offense with explosive receivers on the outside. The more people watch the Titans, the more they'll realize I think they're a Super Bowl caliber team.
I think a lot of things are going to have to break right for the Bills to be a contender, but I'm going to throw them in the mix here because of the way their offense has played. Fitz, I can't give you 3 contenders and give you 9 teams that are just sort of sitting there playing for a consolation prize. So the Bills just creep in. They're a year or 2 away from being true legitimate contenders, but they're on the periphery of a lot of things break in their favor. How about the Browns?
Oh, massive pretenders. The Browns aren't even making the playoffs. That is the soapbox I'm going to continue to die on. This is it. Climb on and die on. I'll hill, soapbox, all of it at once. Look at their remaining schedule. The Browns have tough games left. They do not have tiebreaker advantage over my beloved Raiders. The Browns are going to be sitting home when the playoffs come. The Raiders are going to be in it. The Browns are pretenders.
All right, so are the Baltimore Ravens. Interesting thought there on the Browns not making the playoffs, though. The Ravens, it's been quite a week for the Ravens. We've got to see them win a game against an opponent that strikes fear into you, right? And not only that, we have to see them win a game where they face some adversity within the game. We all know the stats about Lamar Jackson as a starting quarterback when down by 10-plus points. Let's turn that narrative around. How about the Saints, Fitz?
Saints, absolute contenders. They're still the best team in the NFC. I'm going to presume that Drew Brees gets healthy, and when that happens, I still think the Saints are headed to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think so, too. Them and the Chiefs were my preseason pick. No need to veer off course now. The Green Bay Packers, I'm going to put them in the contenders, and all of a sudden this contender list is getting a lot deeper than I expected it to be. But the Packers, offensively, a well-oiled machine. We all know that they could have used a first-round pick on a wide receiver. Well, you know what? They didn't. They also could have traded the second or third-round pick for Will Fuller. Well, you know what? He's suspended for the rest of the season. The Packers have Aaron Rodgers. They have a chance. Defensively, though, let's tighten the screws a little bit, Packers.
I do look at your contender list and say one of the more interesting things to me is that when you pull that list up, there's actually a fatal flaw to most of these teams. Most of these teams on the contender list, not the pretender list, on the contender list, actually have a reason that I could look at it and say, yeah, but. So it's interesting.
How about the Seahawks?
I'll put the Seahawks on the
Ooh, you thought about it. You thought about it.
Yeah, I got to put. I just can't bet against Russ. Right? There's just a level of no matter how bad the defense is, and no matter how much I think that eventually that catches up to them. Same standard as the Titans. They have defensive issues, right? But no, I'll put them on the contender list.
All right, I'm throwing the Rams in the contenders as well, Fitz. You know what? Because I feel like being nice tonight. The Rams, by the way, play outstanding defense. They have the best individual defensive player in the league in Aaron Donald. The offense, Jared Goff, buddy. No more self-inflicted errors. Your coach is calling you out. Protect the football a little bit more. But the way that this team plays defense gives them a chance on any given Sunday.
Defense doesn't matter in 2020. Come on.
Let's get off the show. How about the Buccaneers?
All right, the Buccaneers, total pretender. Yeah, this is, and everybody today is going to talk, has been talking about the problems with Tom Brady? Well, A, I think that Bruce Arians could do a better job of calling the plays that gets his quarterback into rhythm. But B, it wasn't Tom Brady's job to cover Tyreek Hill. Like, I think there are deficiencies all over the Buccaneers. Overhyped, overrated.
Okay, and how about the Cardinals? I'll take this one. Pretenders. Hey, listen, the Cardinals are a good story of development. Kyler Murray is so special. I think that shoulder, by the way, is a little bit more bent out of shape than they're leading us on to believe right now. But the Cardinals, they're going to get further along in this trajectory of being a contender in the next couple of years. But this year, not quite a Super Bowl contending team. But if we were to do like a contender list for like the best of ESPN, Diana, you have somebody that would be a bona fide top of the line contender.
That is right, guys. We have our NFL Live NFL analyst, writer. At this point, her resume is like 15 pages long. You see her all over ESPN. You see her even over on ABC. I used to call her a friend, but she became a celebrity over the last few days. So I'm not even sure if we're in that space, but I'm just psyched to have her on this show. Mina, it's been a minute since I have randomly FaceTimed you at the early hours of between 5 and 7 a.m., but it's so awesome to see you. What's up? How you been?
Well, I want to clarify something. I am far from a celebrity. I am friends with the celebrity, David Cheng, the chef and television personality, and I guess closer friends, or maybe he thinks of me as more of a resource than I thought until recently when I became his lifeline.
Yes, this is what everyone has been watching on social media pretty much for the last 24 hours. The fact that you were on the show and someone's lifeline is insane, but it also makes a lot of sense because here's the thing, you were successful. Let's take a look at the clip.
All right, Mina. Although he and his wife never touched a light switch for fear of being shocked, who was the first president to have electricity in the White House? Ulysses S. Grant, Benjamin Harrison, Chester A. Arthur, or Andrew Johnson? Grant, Harrison,
Grant.
Arthur, Johnson.
That would be the 1800s. I think it's probably Harrison.
But David Cheng, your metallic testicles just won you $1 million for your charity.
This is incredible. Mina, we have so many questions for you. I want to get to talking football with you, obviously, because we want to hear some of your hot takes here. But what was going through your mind when he called you?
Oh, bleep, because I was hoping he wouldn't call me. And also, they told me a window in which he would call, and we were getting to the end of the window, so I thought he had been eliminated from the show, and I was relieved, Diana, because, like I said, I didn't want him to call me. Not just because of the stress, but, you know, it's for charity, it's for him. It wasn't like I was playing for myself, so it was extra stressful. And then when the phone rang and I picked it up and it was Jimmy Kimmel, I think my heart just leapt out of my chest, and honestly, I kind of blacked out.
How confident were you in the answer that you gave?
50-50. So two of them I had ruled out, Grant and Johnson, just knowing when the electric light bulb was invented. But I was like 50% confident. And then listening to it, I sounded way more confident. Even though I said probably, I really should have hedged more than I did, and I got really lucky.
Mina, why do you know when the electric light bulb was created? Like, I don't even know when I was born.
Well, 1880 is like the end of the 19th century. That's, I don't know.
Mina was about to say
I don't know why I
everybody
know
knows that. Okay, but the other big thing, Mina, is like, when did all of this, because we all know these things are taped, when did you know you'd helped him win $1 million, and how'd you keep the secret?
We taped this months ago, so I was sitting on it for a long time, and then I kind of forgot. And then Cheng let me know it was airing, and I was watching the game because it was on delay here. I was watching the Bears-Packers game, just honestly like waiting for it to happen, I guess. And then my phone started blowing up.
Well, I'm sure your phone is probably at a point where it's just like on overcharge. You're probably not even using it anymore because it blew up. It's like Schefter's on a busy Sunday morning. So obviously people are also blowing up your phone because everyone just loves to probably give you a hard time about the Seahawks. So I'm just going to ask you straight up, are the Seahawks Super Bowl contenders?
I think they're contenders to make it to the Super Bowl. I know that's like insane hedging. I think that the Chiefs are in another. I think the Steelers are a lot better too, but I think the Chiefs in particular are in another class. But I also think the NFC is wide open, Diana. Like I think we're coming off a huge Packers win, but we've seen the Packers, the Bucks, the Saints have their ups and downs. I think the Saints are the best team, but obviously there's a question mark given the status of Drew Brees and his health. So, I think they can win the NFC, but I don't think they're, like the class of the conference or anything. I think it just speaks to more the parity in the conference.
Mina, I know nobody talks about them, but I do want to ask you about the Bucks because there's been quite a bit of sort of body language reading and some quote interpretation since yesterday's game. What do you make of the cohesion, or perhaps the lack thereof, between Tom Brady and Bruce Arians? Because I don't think when you sign Tom Brady, the goal is to have a nice season. It feels like to me it's Super Bowl or bust.
Yes.
Do you think they're good enough to represent the NFC at their home stadium in the Super Bowl?
I think they are. I think the defense definitely is. The offense obviously has been chaotic and inconsistent, and it's kind of thing where we're in week 12 and they're still figuring it out. Like it's way past the time at which that is acceptable. But I also think this is a team that everyone overestimated coming into the season, not just because of the talent on paper, but because of what we've seen in recent years, right? Like this is, it's slightly modified, but this is Bruce Arians offense. This is who Tom Brady was last year. And for all the talk of, the offense needs to be more like what Tom Brady's good at. We need more play action. Why are you forcing it downfield? I don't think it's the kind of thing where a few schematic tweaks and suddenly they're the Chiefs. This is a flawed team, a flawed offense in some regards. I think it has the upside to be one of the better offenses in the conference. We've seen them play at that level, but we've also seen Tom Brady struggle under pressure, similarly to how he did last year. He is tied with Carson Wentz, who's playing tonight, with the most interceptions in the league when he's under pressure. That's not just schematic. That's just kind of who he is at this point. So I'm not ruling them out because of how high their ceiling is, but I think the span of outcomes for this Bucs team is very large.
So, Mina, going back to the defensive side of the ball, you just gave a lot of credit to Tampa Bay's defense. We all know your Seahawks have had a tough year defensively. What do you attribute that to?
It's been... There's been different issues in different games. I think the absence of a pass rush, especially until recently, is no secret. But there's been major lapses in coverage. To the Seahawks' credit, they've had significant injuries on that side of the football. Shaquille Griffin, who's their best cornerback, who's coming back tonight against the Eagles, has been out for much of the season. Quentin Dunbar was playing hurt. He was the free agent corner they signed. Jamal Adams didn't play for much of the year as well. They lost Marquise Blair, who they were hoping would be the second safety early in the season. So they've had to kind of figure out things on the fly, and of course went out and added Carlos Dunlap. Now, over the last two games, you've seen a lot of improvement in Seattle against the Rams, who they lost to. Really, the offense lost that game, and then the Cardinals. So I think tonight the big question is, can they build on that? Can they continue to get something of a pass rush without blitzing? Can Jamal Adams, who said he played hurt last week, can he improve in coverage? And then does the return of Griffin dramatically improve their ability to defend the deep ball? This doesn't have to be one of the best defenses in the NFL. They just need to be average and competent for this team to contend because of how good the offense can be.
I mean, I know it's always so hard as an analyst to not show your fandom, but you've kind of just chosen to say, hey, this is who I am. I love Seattle. I'm a Seahawks fan. I can still do the job, but this is the team I grew up watching, loving, and I'm passionate about it. Have you had any support from any Seattle Seahawks players, maybe sending you a message like, hey, you should make this point, or hey, thanks a lot for that? You ever get any love from Seattle?
I think I'll say this, like, I'll call, being a fan, and I think any of us who roots for a team or follows a team closely, everyone loves Russell Wilson. Everyone loves Tyler Lockett. Everyone knows who Jamal Adams is. But I'm more likely to, give a shout out to defensive tackle Poona Ford than maybe your average national analyst. He's been very good this year. And, I think a player like Poona recognizes that, appreciates the attention because, as you guys know, so many great players in the NFL don't get talked about much on the national level.
Oh, no, that's definitely true. I tweet at Derrick Henry every day. He's never liked anything of mine. I see him every weekend. It's like I don't exist. It's so annoying. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go with your style. I'm just going to pick somebody who's working really hard, who deserves the attention.
Yeah, you got to go a little lower.
Yeah, I shot too high. I gotta lower my bar for that Twitter love. I just want a damn retweet. All right, Mina, thank you so much. Congratulations. You've been so fun, and I'm so glad you got the answer right. I mean, you're awesome under pressure, which I'm shocked because I've seen you drive. So, awesome job. Thanks so much for hanging out with us.
Bye, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mina.
All right, guys, we got the game starting in just a few here. We're just about, roughly 25 minutes away from this. So let's do it. Let's get to our game picks. Fitz, let's start with you.
Well, I think Field and I are going to be the same.
First, fine, I'll tussle. I'll go first. Give me the Seahawks to win this game convincingly in Philadelphia.
Well, and Field and I tend to agree on these things. I'm also going to go with the Seahawks to win convincingly, which we all know you're the one that's always right, though, Diana. So
I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Wow.
The Seahawks have given up the most passing yards this season more than any other team. And I think tonight is when the Eagles offense clicks. So I'm going Eagles. I'm going to keep my record undefeated, going 12-0 this season. It's really been an incredible feat. I'm hoping to get a pay raise. But yeah, so let's see what happens today at the link in just a few minutes. Guys, you can catch Jason Fitz every night on Spain and Fitz on ESPN Radio from 7 to 9 Eastern, Monday through Friday. You can also catch Field Yates, of course, on his amazing podcast every 10 a.m., right? Every morning, or at least Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday now, this time of the year. And you can watch Diana on Sunday NFL Countdown, fantasy football now, Sports
one big
Center, NFL
promotion.
Live. You know
right,
it.
nobody
You're going to find
cares.
it.
10 a.m. Santa! Sorry.
Yes, see me on Twitter just tweeting at everybody. I'm headed to Nashville for Browns and Titans, so Sunday NFL Countdown, see you there. But tonight, all the action, Monday Night Football at the link in just a few. Guys, we will see you next Monday night. Thanks for hanging with us.